Alright guys, in our last video we talked about how to find your topic and create your driving question. So today what we're going to look at is how to take your driving question and transform it into your thesis statement. So you've got your driving question, and remember, if Google or Siri can answer your driving question with a definite answer, then that's not a strong or good driving question. So let's test my driving question. Hey Siri, is food addictive?
Here's what I found on the web for is food addictive. Have a look.
Alright, so Siri couldn't give me a definite answer to my driving question, but she did present me with some information for me to research about that question, and that's what we're looking for in our driving question. So now that I have my driving question, it's time to prepare the roadmap of my paper, which is the thesis statement. Your thesis statement is going to be one of the most important, if not the most important part of your paper. And that's why it's very essential to have a strong thesis statement, and also why writing your thesis statement is going to be broken up into multiple videos for you to watch. Before we get too far, we need to discuss what a thesis statement is. So as I said earlier, the thesis statement is the roadmap to your paper. It is what tells the readers what elements they're going to expect in your paper. So your thesis statement is different from your topic because your topic is about 1 or 2 words about what your paper is going to be about. And then your thesis statement is going to take your topic and it'll be 1 or 2 sentences about what you're going to say about that topic. You want your thesis statement to be broad enough so that people can relate to it, but specific enough that you can dissect the issue and fully address it with research. Remember, we don't want to drown in an ocean of research because our question is far too broad and we have so much that we have to look through. Remember that your driving question is not your thesis statement. So let's catch up with an example. My topic is food, and my driving question is, can food really be an addiction for people? So is food really addictive? Now I need to come up with a thesis statement that's going to put all of this together. So there are a few steps to help you develop a good thesis statement, and we're going to start with number 1, typical. The first step that you have is to establish an issue or problem with your topic. This issue should be one that's debatable. Just saying vegetables are good for you, that's not really much of an issue. Most people are going to agree with you, yeah, there are a bunch of nutrients you can get from vegetables. They are pretty good for you. You want it to be something that there are different sides to it. So now that you know you have to think about an issue or a problem, let's take my example of, is food addiction a real thing, and start to think about what problem or issue can I come up with for that. So thinking of a problem, it might take you a little while, but let's see, food addiction, is that a real thing? You know, most of us really just kind of joke about being addicted to food, and many people think that that's not really a real thing and kind of make fun of it, or it has a negative stigma to it. But if it really does affect your brain in the way that drugs or alcohol can affect your brain, then because of people just kind of making fun of it and not thinking it's a real thing, then people that really have their brain affected by this might not be getting the help that they need. And there's my problem. So now that I have my problem, we move to step 2. To express your own opinion or stance on the issue. Remember, this is a formal research paper, so you're not going to be using first person, even though you are expressing your opinion. So remember, first person is I, me, my. not going to be using any of that in this research paper. So, express your own opinion is step number 2. So my problem is that because people don't think food addiction is a real thing, people who are really addicted to food might not be getting the help that they need. So now I have to come up with an opinion on this. So to start off, you're just going to simply state your opinion. Like, I think blank, fill in the blanks. So I think that the large increase in the consumption of processed foods has created an actual food addiction that's as real as that of a drug or alcohol addiction, and that the negative stigma tied to being addicted to food has left many people wrestling this addiction all on their own. So there's my opinion. But I used I in that when I was just simply stating my opinion. So what I need to do is take away that I. I can still state my opinion without using first person. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the I think that and come up with my first draft for my thesis statement. So taking off the I think that, my thesis statement becomes: the large increase in the consumption of processed foods has created an actual food addiction as real as that of a drug or alcohol addiction, and the negative stigma tied to being addicted to food has left many people without the help that they need. So, with that, I've got my first draft of my thesis statement. And yes, I said first draft, because as you're writing your paper, it's important to go back, revise, and edit. And from here, we're going to move to doing some research. Think of your first draft of your thesis statement as kind of your hypothesis for your research paper. As you do research and you start diving into that research, you might see that what your opinion is may change because you are becoming informed on that topic. So with the first draft, that's your starting point, and that's what you're going to start looking for, and that's going to help you pinpoint more of what you need to research.